at the Esports World Cup 2025. This is the grand finals, baby, and we are on champion rush. Potentially 10 matches ahead of all of us today. It could end as early as 4 as well. Nothing is granted. Everything is earned. It's your boys Mustachio and Husky back on the desk. Let's rock it, baby.
Let's rock one more grand final. Second year in a row at the EWC 25 stage. And I gotta say, champion rush plus point rush was something that we did not expect. But I think we have accepted the fact that there is going to be a lot of surprises today. Even coming in from yesterday. Core Memory Esports XKOG with a 10-point head start today. R7, movie star R7. There's a chance that Latam claims their first international trophy. But we cannot forget EVOS Divine, EVOS Esports in this case, they are back for blood.
Absolutely, man. The Wonder Kid Rasya today, the 20th of July, is exactly 1 month short of his 3-year anniversary with EVOS Esports. This is chess. EVOS Esports, they are the grand masters of Free Fire. They were planning this move 3 years ahead. This kid was acquired, this kid was trained, this kid was given everything possible to be the beast that he is right now. They acquired him at the age of 13. He's 16 this year, finally eligible to compete on the world stage, and he is rocking it. The MVP of MVPs. And he's got the cheekiest smile of them all out there. We saw Fluxo earlier farming a little bit of aura, but you know that one comes from Indonesia, and who else that's going to be better to farm all of that aura than the Wonder Kid himself. But of course, you know, we talked a little bit about point rush. Yesterday, the 4 teams that walked away with the points are the teams that needed it the most. I would say EVOS is the one that leads it the least because they know how to score those big points. But it's all about the underdogs. The big boys, they stepped aside yesterday.
They did. Brazilian teams, not part of the equation, right? They finished bottom 6. Unfortunately, lost Fluxo, Pain Gaming. I mean, Fluxo, we sort of saw it coming. They didn't really have the best knockout stage, but we were expecting Lost to really tear it up, and they could not do it. Vitality is the biggest underdog from the Indonesian region. If there's any team that you look at that you want to support who are not the Kings of Kings or the Tigers of Indonesia, Vitality is going to be your pick, but it's not going to be easy because for some of these players, it has been exactly 371 days since they were first on this stage.
Absolutely, and of course, EVOS at one point, they were the champions of the world. That was way back in 2019, right? But of course, 6 years later, can they get it done, or will it be a underdog squad out there, one of those that we least suspect to make that move? Dragon Esports, I did not expect to see them in point rush in the grand finals. I did not expect to see them do so well, but of course, we've actually got an interview here that we would like to throw you guys over to. Husky and I will be back with you in a sec.
Hello, our survivors. I'm Yunso, and welcome to the grand finals today of Free Fire at EWC 25. Right next to me here is Dix, and Koja comes from Team Vitality. Okay, so let's jump into a few questions, shall we? Alright everyone, so for Dix, yesterday you guys seems to be like having a little struggle in the power stage and only managed to get 1 booyah at the end of the match. So do you think that today you guys will having the same issues for today or no?
Oke, jadi pertanyaan pertama tentunya di sini buat tim Vitality kemarin sedikit mengalami kesulitan ya pada saat bermain di point rush dan kalian baru bisa mendapatkan buyah di map terakhir gitu. Kira-kira apakah kalian bakal mengalami kesulitan yang sama hari ini atau kalian sudah ada strategi tertentu buat di hari ini?
Kalau hari ini pastinya kita nggak bakal kesulitan karena di hari kemarin kita sempat kayak coba-coba buat war dulu. Setelah tahu gimana buat adaptasi, pokoknya di match 1 sampai 5 coba main Pais juga, akhirnya bisa ngerti lah cara mainnya gimana.
I don't think we will have much trouble as yesterday because to be honest, yesterday we also trying a lot of things and we're also trying to read a lot of the opponent team, how they're gonna play. So I feel like we have a good strategy and a good mindset on how to play today.
So I think yesterday is just a test, right? And today everything will go smooth. For second question, Koja, Team Vitality has been seen as one of the contenders for quite some time. What are you guys doing differently today to help you attain the championship?
Tentunya buat Kojak juga dan tim Vitality itu sebagai salah satu tim yang dianggap bisa menjadi juara di EWC tahun ini. Dan menurut kalian apa sih yang kalian lakukan secara berbeda dibanding dengan tim-tim lain dan juga cara kalian untuk bisa menjadi juara di tahun ini?
Yang pertama-tama kita pasti minta restu dulu ke orang tua buat kita juara, semoga didoain gitu. Terus yang kedua palingan kita kompak lah buat tim mau susah mau senang, jadi kita harus bareng-bareng juga udah.
I think what we're doing differently is that our teamwork. I think we have a better teamwork than everyone else, and we just in it together, whether it's a hard time or just like a struggling time. And the second thing is that we just want a blessing from our parents and our teams and our fans as well, that we can actually win this.
Oh, that's very cute to listen to that. Alright, everyone, since today is our grand finals day, only one last day. Who will become the champion? Continue to cheer for your favorite team. Here with me with Vitalities, but you can always cheer for everyone. 12 teams right here at Free Fire EWC 25. See you guys later, and good luck to all of you guys today.
Once more, Team Vitality dubbed as a contender, but at the same time an underdog of their own region. 3 out of the 4 surviving teams from Indonesia who made it through knockouts, barring Onyx Esports. But on this grand stage, this is where they get put to the test. Even before they were Team Vitality, when they were still Bigatron Esports, they were known as the Falcon Slayers. But ever since they stepped into the Falcon's nest, that has not been the case.
Not been the case at all, but of course they have grown from just being the Falcon Slayers, the Falcon Hunters, to being champs in their own accord. They have stepped up their gameplay, but can they take a trophy home to prove that they're true champions at the end of the day? Definitely one of the underdogs. They have got a little bit of extra confidence now since they were put onto a platform and raised up to the occasion. So I just want to see exactly what Vitality can do with this, right? They've got a few points here out of Point Rush as well. A little bit of head start does not hurt. It's just 3 points though. But we know on the grand stage like this, at the world stage, 3 points can mean the world sometimes.
And we have seen teams that started the grand finals without any head start points go on to win the whole thing. And in this case, with I noticed a bit of a pattern, because a lot of times for the past 5 years when we go into a grand finals, the first thing we will talk about is always Buriram United Esports. But I think that team has slowly faded from the headlines of the conversation, and for good reason, right? Teams are catching up to BRU. They definitely aren't coming into this grand finals as strong as a lot of people would expect them to, and some of the people, the sentiments out there, would even go as far as to say that they don't think BRU is going to win it all.
Yeah, I most definitely would agree with them as well, right? Not just because they have not been showing up very strong, it's because of the other teams who are really calling them out on their play. Some of the teams literally hunting down Buriram United Esports very early on in these games. But in that same category, we can lump in your 2-time world champs, Fluxo. They are no longer looking like the most threatening squad out of Brazil. Lost out of nowhere. Don't seem very lost out there anymore. Granted, from their local region, Fluxo still are the top dogs out there, but Lost has been looking so clean with their gameplay here at the knockout stage.
Not only that, we also had that slight patch on the 1st of July. The Tatsuya nerf definitely brought in some impacts and affected some of the teams that wanted to be aggressive. I think BRU is a very good example. But this also shows us that this meta shift could potentially benefit the Indonesian teams who like to play a slightly more strategic, more smart. They don't really care too much about being in the heat of battle every single second. Maybe that little blessing is what's going to make the Indonesians feel a lot more relieved. But for Fluxo, for the longest of times, even behind the scenes before the knockout stage began, I talked about I didn't really like how slow they played. I feel like it's really hurting themselves more than it's benefiting them. We've seen that play out throughout the knockout stage. We've seen that play out into the point rush. Right now, they have a potential of 10 games to make it right, but I don't know if they can adapt to it.
And for the first time ever, we have got some representation here at the Grand Finals for Saudi Arabia. Dragons Esports, not the heaviest hitters out there, but shockingly accurate with their circle reads, getting into that final zone time and time again. They're one of the teams, in fact, they are the team with the most number of top 3s, and that is absolutely unbelievable. Where they do lack though is those firepower, getting in those shots, pulling away the eliminations. But if they can repeat their circle hunting once again here today, I'm pretty sure a decent amount of this prize pool awaits them.
And it's a good time to also remind everyone, but for Dragon Esports, this is their very first international debut.
Yeah.
None of these players have ever played on a stage such big, with stakes so high, and it just happens to be the Esports World Cup. The fact that they made it to top 12 with some help from Team Power, because of course in the final round of knockouts is already mad impressive.
Oh yeah.
Do I expect them to win? No, of course not. But I expect them to continue showing us that genius, that brilliance of reading the circle and making smart rotation and taking fights only when needed.
I know, right? Latam almost had another representative in Vision System, but of course we've got Tash Bunny and AdMats awaiting as they've got a little bit of an update. Let's see exactly what they have to say.
Hello survivors, welcome to Free Fire at Esports World Cup 2025 final stage.
And today we're in front of the contenders key wall where all of the team's keys are currently being displayed. And as you know, over at EWC, nothing is granted, everything is earned. And at EWC, no competition is as ruthless as this, and this includes the trophy system. Every team earns a key engraved with their name, and that's their right to compete. The game trophy is not complete until it's sealed with the champion's key, and only one team can place their key into the trophy and become an EWC champion. Then, the frame of the champion's key is embedded into the totem, a symbol of legacy displaying every champion of the year.
The keys of the eliminated are crushed. The champion then selects 3 keys as a personal token, a reminder of those they have humbled. And a resin block beneath the totem holds those crushed keys, and the club championship trophy is awarded to the one club that rose above the rest and reigns supreme across all EWC games. Let's see who's gonna win today and be crowned champions for Free Fire at EWC 2025.
It's all for the marbles, ladies and gentlemen. We, once more, have a potential of 10 maximum rounds ahead of us. But if one team speed runs the finals, we could end in 4. But I personally prefer to have a long and eventful night. We've come this far. I don't want it to end in 4 rounds.
I don't know. I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, I don't, absolutely agree with you. That's exactly what Champion Rush is all about. Who can rush to the championship as quickly as possible, be as accurate as possible with their aim for the final circle as well as the Booyah when they truly need it. Because at the Southeast Asian Finals, we saw Buriram unlocking the Champion Rush condition, 80 points, and then not being able to close the game. And an underdog squad from Indonesia went on to win the whole championship, and that is Onyx. And unfortunately, that luck didn't last very long. They didn't even make it past Point Rush to be here at the Grand Finals. But of course, as we kick off game number 1 out of potential 10 here, we start things off at Bermuda, and this map is usually conquered by the Southeast Asian squads.
First of all, we have to look at the drop spots. Nothing out of the ordinary so far, and it's been quite a while since we see the teams actually play give proper respect to one another.
Yeah.
No hot drop, no huntings, no R7 is not coming out with shenanigans and hot dropping Dragon Esports like they did in Point Rush. Peak taken by Buriram again, Fluxo getting Factory and then Pochinok, everything going as planned. AGAL having a long rotation potential again as a Tosa. Some scuffles happening very early on. A bounty put out onto General from Lost, but so far no knocks yet.
Some say all roads lead to Rome, but I say at Bermuda, all zip lines lead you to peak. And who stands at peak is Buriram. My goodness me, Lost finding an early one here onto RRQ. But we know the Indonesians are always cheeky, spreading out in the open, looking for a lot of loot very early on. And RRQ is actually one of the front runners of Bermuda. Finding a Booyah here shouldn't be a huge problem for them at the end of the day. As you can see, Dirt's already with the 800 coins in his hands, looking for 200 more at the cost of Haral, who does manage to get away. And thankfully does manage to pick up a gun that can match up to what Dirt's is pulling in as well, that AUG should be able to reach him.
And we are also seeing signs of teams who want to get down and dirty early on. Rigby with another collection. That's point number 2 for Lost. And off screen, BRU actually put out a bounty onto Fluxo. We haven't seen that in a long time. It's an old rivalry reignited. It was buried for a good year and now it has resurfaced on the biggest stage in the world. But I don't think Fluxo cares too much about it. They love to play on the southern side of the map. First time we saw it was AGAL that spoiled the party, but right now, don't think that's going to be the case. Dutch goes down, 0.3 for loss.
Yeah, but that's classic Buriram, right? Putting out the bounty onto a player from Fluxo only means that they get to track their movements across the battlefield. I highly doubt Fluxo is going to be playing any sort of tricks whatsoever. But look at the strategy that comes through from the team in a little bit later on. You guys don't have the maps in front of you. I believe Fluxo is playing a counter to this at this very point of time, allowing GU to hold back as the rest of them continue rotating in towards Mars Electric to look for more loot. This could just be the biggest surprise for Buriram, but I highly doubt Buriram went in there for the contract to play the Hunters. They just wanted to know if or not Fluxo was going to come in here to bum rush them and kick them out of peak very early on. So Buriram can stay put for the time being, but they are not the only team that Buriram needs to worry about. Remember yesterday, R7 also came looking for them at peak.
Yeah. I was about to bring that up, right? R7 with a very ballsy move to go to peak early and actually flushed out everyone else. But the occupants of this fishing hut, not so lucky, lost once more continues their bout against RRQ. Rekai Rhythm takes down that blue wall, Haone down and out. Easily collected by RRQ, getting a second elimination point. The rivalry continues between these two new-found fighters.
Yeah, and just like that, RRQ has made that full recovery already. With the P90, easy takedown for Ma'al. The question is obviously going to be whether or not Lost continues to fight for this, because we did spot Falcons over at Hangar earlier on as well. They could very well be the third party in this little scuffle between Lost and RRQ. And thankfully Lost does not want any part of that as they quickly back away into Clock Tower to play a little bit of recovery.
Very bloody start. Team Vitality getting 5 eliminations. EVOS just picked off 2 members from R7 who got revived back onto the map. Then checking on Dragon Esports as well. Playing very safe, like we expected, right? This is a team that is, you can agree, I think everyone can agree, not the best in gunfight, not the best in mechanic, but one thing they're good at is reading the map. They know how to make rotation, and their survival instincts is second to none for a team that is on the world stage for the first time. I think it's worth highlighting every now and then. They are going to potentially be sandwiched by teams like Core Memory and Vitality, but for now they haven't made any presence just yet, unless Core Memory runs into them.
Yeah, when you're not the strongest fighter on the battlefield, the best thing that you can do is do your homework, find out where everybody else loves to play and where everybody else rotates through, and AGAL just found Peter rotating through their midst, and they did not think twice. Shot it down instantaneously. Question is, do they now go in for the hunt? Noda staying silent. Cypher M590 in hand. Noda spotted out. Plays the corner really well. Decent blue wall pulled up by Cypher. And a counter tag as well. Barros comes in here for the bait and switch. Going in for the shutdown. And Dew is there for the shots as well. The rest of the players from Pain, though, Motovia helping them out from afar very effectively with the BSK.
Has the air support, but unfortunately the numbers are dwindling for the side of Pain Gaming. Gus having to run away, so AGAL have an advantage. 3-2, Chinoy, Cypher, Barros all gunning for Gus, who is trying to turn the corner, puts out the blue wall on one end, but he's quickly running out of defensive resources, and finally AGAL catches up onto him. There's really nothing much that Motovia can do, and Pain Gaming forced to concede.
Very surprisingly slow shutdown from AGAL. This does not look like a prime squad at this point of time, which they'll have to worry about a little bit later on. Pain Gaming, on the other hand, has got more to worry about. Final player on the battlefield. And they will be the first team to get painfully taken out of the race here at the Grand Finals. But then again, Bermuda was never a map that belonged to the Brazilians.
It really stings, and it's also a pretty interesting result, right? We say that Bermuda is not a Brazilian team thing, but you know, Raja on the panel did pointed out that they're bigger fans of the classic map than they are of maps like Kalahari or Solara. And in this case, Pain Gaming just got off
in the local league.
In the local league, maybe. You know, on the world stage. It is pretty tough. But AGAL, the fact that they ended up taking out Pain shows that they still are sticking to that late rotation on Bermuda. I think Pain Gaming probably didn't expect that to be the case coming into the Grand Finals and got punished.
Yeah, and AGL is not the strongest squad out there. that they need to worry about. So that's something that Pain Gaming needs to think about overall. But I do agree with you. They kind of got caught with their pants down. Unsuspecting move coming through and being caught off guard. Pain Gaming sacrificed very early on. Thankfully, this is a day where we could have potentially 10 games. Fingers crossed though, Pain Gaming has got the capability to pick up those points. Very crucial points in game number 2. And that is where they do shine. Purgatory is a place where Pain has showed up quite strongly in the past.
And I do wonder how this would affect the dynamics of teams like Fluxo, who always goes Mars Electric, because game 1 when they did it in the knockout stage, they ran into AGAL, and they were like, why are you guys here? This was not supposed to be the case. AGL made a bit of diversion, Fluxo on the map making their rotation, and now Lost and BRU fight head to head.
Yeah, big opportunity here for Lost to help out the whole lineup of the Brazilian teams to get rid of a heavy contender for the championship. Buriram looking for Lost very early on, accidentally, of course, as they try to reposition themselves in the heart of this next safe zone. And Buriram not going in for the chase shows you the intention of Buriram, not going for points, just purely going in here for the positioning for the next circle.
Same can be said for Lost, who actually makes a retreat, got scanned out by the Dinoculus. And there are two possibilities, either Buriram is tracking them or RRQ was thinking of making a rotation, and even Lost themselves are using that Dinoculus to make sure that no one is near that northwestern part so they could move outwards. And I think I like the elevation, but RRQ catches the mid-rotation double rip Tyrant even shot out as 2 bodies drop as the past catches up to the present. RRQ now looking to clean up Lost.
This one is done for. Rigby all alone. Can he get to the vending machine? Dude says, I'm gonna stop you, baby! Before he can get to the vending machine, up on top of the roof. Straight in. The Oscar tried to save him, has got the charge buster, just not the gun for this. But he still hits a beautiful headshot. But Rigby, so close yet so far. RRQ with the preemptive strike before those revivals could be brought in. The vending machine was right there.
The extended conflict finally comes to an end with RRQ being the victors. The rotation was correct from Lost, they just did it at the wrong time. They did not expect RRQ to be there, and RRQ, I'm convinced that was their Dinoculus, pinging out the whole team of Lost right before the move towards that silo. And with that, RRQ, they have 6 points and counting, full squad available, resources from the fallen members of Lost, and they should be ready to take on Buriram if they show up at Bima Sakti Strip on the south side.
Dinoculus and their big bright eyes, because all thanks to Buriram, they had Lost on the back foot, looking for the high ground, and RRQ just happened to be there. How much luckier can you get, Indonesia? And RRQ settling the fight with Lost so early on here. And look at Buriram. This is why they didn't want to go in there for the hunt. The read of the circle, once again perfect from this Thai squad. But now they'll have to deal with one of the deadliest predators out there, courtesy of Indonesia. RRQ Kazu on rotation. And now there's just a little bit of open land between these two titans.
Knowing RRQ, I think when they are on this high, when they feel like they have the momentum, RRQ is not going to shy away. In fact, they have completely done a 180 on how they used to play from the days of good old Sergeant Legolas, like to play slow and tactical. Right now, with Abai leading the charge, the prodigy turned captain, I think they're ready to really duke it out. But Dragon Esports, not so lucky, they ran into Evos.
Yeah, man, I mean, this has to be a miracle here if Dragons can pull this off cleanly up against EVOS, but I highly doubt it. Now, one bright side is you don't have Rasya sitting down far away, aiming down at your heads. He's the first one that gets tagged up. But you do have to fear the capability of Aim God in these close quarters combat with the M590 in his hands. Surprisingly, he was not going up here for an aggressive fight onto the top floor. They're just biding their time, waiting downstairs, wondering if or not Dragon's going to come knocking. Why? Because there's a vending machine here.
And it can be pretty risky to bomb rush the attic, right?
Yeah.
Close area, you saw the triple glue wall from Dragon Esports, like you called it, there's the vending machine downstairs. And we've seen if the circle moves away from a building with multiple levels, usually those at the ground floor can afford to wait. And in this case, EVOS, they don't mind waiting, there's no rush back.
Yeah.
They can just keep getting intel onto Dragon Esports every now and then.
Also, brilliant positioning coming through from Dragon Esports, and this is why they've been able to survive time and time again. Their rotations are always looking for that vending machine, and they have hit so many revives in the competition so far. I'm sure if we pulled up the numbers, we will see them as the champions of revivals. Of course, speaking of champions, your two-time world champs Fluxo on standby here, ready to be the third party in a party they were not even...
I would like to... EVOS, you don't want to go down that early, but the numbers are definitely falling down to a 1v1. Seifu getting caught behind. EVOS saved by Ray.
Seifu, instead of using the glue wall to block off any potential damage and pick up his buddy, went for that super med, instead paid a high price for it. And now, the grenade, no follow-up earlier on, but it has given enough time for RRQ to play the recovery. Time turner on top of everything else, pulled out as well, just in case anything was to happen from those windows. Mahal still sees some action. Dudes gets a grenade onto Bob, and Buriram cleans up house, and the victims are the Indonesians, RRQ.
Just one grenade for 3.
One more
than worth it. Second they come through. A bit of a chip damage. Gio actually stolen away by Gil from AGAL, who finally joins the party. BRU still can afford to play slow, but for Fluxo, they paid a high price. EVO's now fighting against Vitality, and EVO's completely outnumbered. Vitality, they just need to be patient and surgical. Core memory gets wiped out off screen, but EVO somehow is holding on dang well with only 2.
AGAL taking a little bit of advantage of that points off of the Indonesians. Thailand smiling year to year at this point of time, looking at AGAL as well as put it up, but it's not over till it's over. EVOS, 2 players up against Koja, but both squads need to be very wary of AGAL and their position. The circle now forcing all 3 squads to move inch by inch. Nobody wants to sit in the open circle just yet.
Only 2 teams have a full squad alive, BRU and AGAL. EVO's trying to circle Koja, coming for the pincer maneuver. Koja takes a 1v1, and that's step number 1. The execution confirms the elimination. Koja only has to deal with Kochiu, and things are not looking good. At least not for Koja. He's going to try to navigate the blue zone. Couple of blue walls left. That's the last reserve that he has. Save for Kochiu, both on the last legs, but blue wall melter from AGAL. The Indonesians might just fall victim to the ties.
Yeah, Kochiu looking at Koja, but AGAL showing up just in time to knock Kochiu down onto the ground. Koja will be ripped away by Moshi, and Thailand will stand strong in the final circle. This Bermuda map belongs to Southeast Asia, and AGAL and Buriram both proving that. Fluxo falling out in third, surviving long enough, but Buriram looking for the absolute shutdown. Sniper taken away from AGAL. Chinoy, down you go, they say, but Chinoy just standing up long enough to get a knock, and Buriram starting things off hot here. Question is, can they keep up this momentum they're building?
Cinematic opening. Buriram United Esports, no longer the favorites, but continues to remind the world that even if they are not, they will make themselves known. And this Booyah is going to give them heck of a head start. 12 eliminations plus the Booyah, that's 24 points, and they are already a quarter of the way there to unlocking Champion Rush.
AGAL so sneaky, man. I mean, taking best use of that position that they had on that high ground, spotting out the battle between EVOS and Vitality, taking advantage by being the third party. But I tell you, massive points picked up here by the Southeast Asian teams. And of course, we saw Brazil try to catch up. Fluxo did get into that final circle, but we didn't really see the squad walk away with a lot of eliminations.
They just could not hold it together, right? Fluxo paid a high price when they tried to go for RRQ, and yes, that job was done, but BRU got some of the credits, and Fluxo ended up being the one that paid the interest for that move. BRU, they reaped the rewards.
We're gonna take a quick short break here. When we come back, the grand finals here. at Free Fire and Esports World Cup 25 will continue.
เอาเลย
โอเคควันใจเย็นก่อน
ตีนะตีแล้วตีแล้ว
เดี๋ยวกูเข้าไปหาก่อนนะกูกดการระเบิดนะป้านไม่ต้องกลัวไม่ต้องกลัว
กันระเบิด
ไอเกตเปิดกันแล้วไอเกต
ต้องเล่นป่าหินได้ป่ะป่าหินได้
มา
ป่ะ
ดิมาดิ
ดาว
สวย177ได้ชุบกันชุบให้100นี่ไอ้ดาวอันนี้ให้
ดาว
มาเฮียเว้ย
Welcome back to the panel, folks. Booram secure the first booyah of Champions Rush, and I think teams are now starting to shake. The Kings may very well be returning, and after that crown today, ladies, gentlemen, that was a really exciting matchup. Our first matchup of the day of potentially many. I'm going to start with you, Gideon. The Kings, they might be back, but is this a case of them saving strats, or is there something else that Booram kind of had up their sleeve today?
Well, it's tough to say. I think consistency is going to be key, and for the next two maps, if Buriram United Esports are able to make it into the top 3 consistently, I think then we've probably got a very good argument, because the same can be said about AGAL, for an example, also being in that top 2. Notoriously, like, oh, if Du is gone, you know, the game is kind of done for, but the interceptions that we saw in this map, early aggressors coming in from the Indonesian teams, and then afterwards the rotations really just boiled down to, hey, if we just cut presence, can we catch a team walking uphill?
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And both teams are really showing up based on how we usually know them from the past. Back then, they are just like, speaking of AG Global, they are getting all those eliminations from a distance, and that is what they did. But for Buriram United, consistency in just hiding out, not getting in any engagement that would cause a third party to take them down.
I think it was the same thing that Fluxo was trying to do, but unfortunately, they just got caught by Buriram too. But I mean, it's good to talk about Vitality too. I kind of was not expecting them to try to fight against Falcons in the beginning of the game. So that's really impressive, and they got a bunch of eliminations, which is pretty cool too, and they are in the top of the bottom, so I think we need to keep our eyes really open for them.
I'm glad you brought that up, Raja, because I think we're starting to see who teams are really trying to prioritize, right? Where you're landing, who you're trying to avoid, and potentially trying to choose, can you land in the path of a team that you feel confident actually fighting in an early skirmish?
Yes, but at the same time, I think, you know, with Team Vitality, in terms of the planning that came to, that was involved in it, I think they also understood that, hey, Team Falcons are going in for this particular spot, but it's also next to another Indonesian team that thinks very similar to us, right? EVOS Divine being on that top northern side of the map. Team Falcons, and then just slightly below them, that's where we saw Team Vitality, which I think is why they were so confident into pushing in, because they knew as soon as there's blood in the water, those white tigers are going to come out of the dens.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, EVOS Divine dropping in a shipyard. Graveyard is the drop spot of Team Falcons, and then Observatory would be for Team Vitality, all in the northern part, and it's bound to happen either way. Either Team Falcons goes into one side, it would be EVOS Divine, and then the other side will be Team Vitality, and the same goes for both. But the one thing that we're seeing right now is how the teams are reading those rotation, especially with Lost. Lost, they thought that they have an advantage until they were caught out. So it's not just them who's going in for the hunt, but a lot of teams are trying to predict where those in the surroundings will be heading.
Well, the most exciting thing we need to know is the overall ranking after our first matchup of the day. So let's see where everyone is currently standing in terms of points and placements. And for obvious reasons, Buriram United Esports is currently occupying that top spot at the leaderboard.
It's looking good, of course, but, you know, I'm going to hold my tongue. I'm going to see whether this is going to be a consistent performance from the Buriram United Esports of old. But at the same time, right, just notice that team vitality, despite the early aggression we've seen, look at on the second half of the leaderboard with RRQ, Team Falcons, Fluxo, Lost, Pain Gaming, and as well as Dragon Esports. I think the main thing that we need to keep in mind is the recovery, right? How do you survive these initial attacks from your opponents, and can you still make it to the very end? Because we've seen it from Team Vitality, right? First early engagement worked out in their favor. Second engagement actually didn't. They lost like a good chunk of their members, 2 of their members, before looking to recover later down the line, and still they were hunted.
Yeah, and it has been pointed out by the casters as well, AJ and Husky, wherein some teams are prioritizing survivability, thus they're staying in the area where there are vending machines. So just in case engagement happen, loss happen, not lost, but losses of teammates will be happening in some engagement, you'll be able to revive them as early as that. So that's one thing, another tactic that is geared for survivability. So if you mix that up with your elimination factor, you'll be able to lead a team.
Okay, here's an issue I kind of see with the whole playing with the survivability factor, and entertain the idea or disagree with me if you want. Going for survivability, going off of the last game points as well, it was very top heavy, right? Because no one's looking for eliminations. They're trying to focus on the survival. So can you afford to play the long game and not have any elimination points prior to coming into those last few circles? Because remember, right, if you try to go for eliminations, that's you putting your future in your hands and not waiting for someone else to make the decision for you.
I would agree with Danny's opinion, but it needs to come with a specific condition, right? Because if you are playing for survivability, I think right now more than ever, resources is just such a big driving force. When we're talking about the economy of those Free Fire coins, everything is more expensive nowadays, right? So actually taking the risk to fight another team and taking away their coins is actually
get all those ability versus elimination. Buriram United, I think, is one of the team who has somewhat perfected that. 15 global from afar when those engagements is happening, and this is what I'm talking about. AG Global are great on engagement from a distance, led by Do, and then Sypha also with a sniper. Yes, but still Sypha is good in close range encounters. So that combination and that lead coming from Do is giving them all those elimination from the head start in this game.
So just very it's like not really teams are playing passive this
right? From Alpine, specifically, because I think if you play and so that's a lot. Sure,
and there's also there's a lot of changes, like which will be snipers like all well it's another like well
I know. I think remember that had among us. You streams you want to at next.
I did.
Wait.
This one's kind of tough. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of after. I'm not see I need to see you truly confident. Here I will say I think that a head to head we have to look big time out is be see what wrong in mid rotation, especially rotation now the team like you move out of the way.
Agree with that. I do agree with that. We don't so I guess they lost playing at the capital
Will see I know is the and flow they this
not you are very important time coming to map. What need to change
one um, you know. That, oh, but we have to talk about
a lot can build teams by looking at Bermuda. Because at some point we're well have the here as just survive and then just do that what the United has been doing for the past.
I think another thing we mentioned are the risk take teams. So far, we're seeing that a lot of the people machines and utilizations of trying to find economy alongside finding at least free points. So you take that initiative despite not getting a lot of placement points. I think has proven that one, and I think that coming into we might see the same thing all over again, all over the POIs. These 3 rounds.
Coming into the next, what is going to be the hot teams kind of want to congregate to position themselves for that safe circle end, because we don't know whether it's going to end. And are they going to
actually you
Interesting.
I was expecting. I get it. You know, yeah. That yeah, I would so bad.
See that we see just yeah, kind of get one team. I'm not repeating. Not would be expect to provide in terms of support.
If I was a player, we would take more. Not to somehow, but I'm not able to do it here. But because I like to feel, connected with, and you can't let this.
That coach is as a life coach in general.
I'm on. I'll tell you this now. I'm on the slight opposite opinion of this. I don't completely disagree with this. I think that for the first two maps, and especially when you're looking at these players who are feeling that pressure, the first thing that comes first is motivation. Why are you here? Do you have any regrets? Drop those regrets. Be aggressive. Do not get disrespected. Show why you are the best in the world. And once you start coming into those third and fourth matches where you start to feel that overheat, where it's starting to get into head, that's when you pull the reins back and say it's about balance. You got to change up that narrative. You start gaslighting gaslighting your players. Say, hey, you're not the best in the world just yet. You got to prove to yourself. You've done it in the first two. Now it's just find that balance right in the middle, right in the center.
A little tough love, right?
A little tough love, baby.
That's the reason that I'm like honestly not a player, because I will probably cry, I guess. So I think it kind of explains so much, you know.
It's like the right amount of gassing, right? It's like you load them up, you hydrate them with that ego, but then it's like, wait a minute, we're overflowing. We've got to calm it down. We need some towels here. All right. Now, we may have lost Admats in his safari adventure, but I have been told that Yunsul is on a bit of an adventure herself on the boulevard. Let's see.
To play it, and the weather today is actually really cute. I love it. As you can see in esports, sometimes we lose, sometimes we win.
Banala.
It's hurting my brain. My dyslexia is killing me right now.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think it would be very fun for us if we could go on the boulevard, because we haven't had a chance to have fun yet. You know, I mean, we're on the panel, we're having fun with you guys, we're having fun with the players, the teams, and also some free fire, but we got to have a little bit of fun we got to have some fun to relax as well.
I think Yunsul has had the most fun amongst all of us. I think, you know, that after all the safari adventures, and I think, you know, going into the play area, she's got what? Ice cream, games, a haunted house.
Oh.
Like, come on.
I mean, that's the best job ever. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's because of that woman. Okay, I'll tell you all the story. So we have been here last year, and I think out of all the talent, Yunsul is the one that likes to wander around and really do things. She plays everything, she tries all the snacks. And she has it in me that because of her, there is a giant cup of lemonade that you can buy outside, and it's giant.